The college football experience, North Texas Mean Green 2023 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, brought to you by our very own Patreon. Yes, score exclusive perks, content and contests, including our NFL win totals contest with $1,000 prize. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Once again, that is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Mike Leach, head football coach at Mississippi State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. North Texas Mean Green 2023 season preview episode. Almost said North Dallas 40, classic football movie. Go check it out if you haven't. But look, I'm excited to talk about a new era. New era in many capacities for the Mean Green, because they're entering a brand new conference in the AAC, a step up from the CUSA. They're also breaking in a brand new head coach. We're going to talk all about it. We're going to go through the schedule game by game, talk about where we see the Mean Green going year one. Hopefully you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. But yes, we're going to break down the offense, the defense, the special teams, the transfer portal, everything that you need to know heading into the 2023 college football season. Excited to talk Mean Green football. Perhaps you're wondering, who is this idiot yelling at you? Well, that's old me. Pick Dundee here, AKA Colby Dad. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Yes. Yes. Oh, it's exciting in Denton, Texas. Good old Denton, Texas. College football, less than a month away. The true American pastime. Don't give me this MLB bullshit. College football goes back further. All right. Texas is college football. Let's jump in to the Mean Green 2023 season preview, because they're breaking in a brand new head coach. And if you listen to the introduction, we had Mike Leach on the introduction there, because I think it's only fitting. Rest in peace to our old friend Mike Leach. But Seth Luttrell was the head coach of North Texas from 2016 to 2022. They were actually in the Conference USA Championship a year ago. They lost. North Texas did. He was 44-44. He went to 6 bowl games in 7 years, and they fired him on a year he played for the Conference USA Championship. Seth Luttrell is a Mike Leach guy. He played for him at Oklahoma. He dropped the playbook. If you go far enough back, he was a fullback at Oklahoma. And one time Mike Leach did give a fake playbook to Texas, essentially had Seth Luttrell drop it while running into the locker room before the game kicked. Texas grabbed it and thought that this was the playbook, and really it was a fake playbook. So they're going from one Mike Leach guy, Seth Luttrell. Look, I think it's pretty silly that they fired him, but still, it is what it is. They have fired Seth Luttrell, and they bring in Eric Morris. Now, who is Eric Morris? That's a guy that played wide receiver for Mike Leach at Texas Tech. He also coached for Coach Leach at Washington State in 2012. and most recently was back at Washington State as the offensive coordinator with Cam Ward and stuff in 2022. He was also the Incarnate Word head coach from 2018 to 2021, where he was 24-18 as the head coach of Incarnate Word. Took him to 2 FCS playoff appearances. So one Mike Leach guy to another Mike Leach guy. I know Seth Luttrell was a fullback. They focused a little more on running the rock, and Morris is definitely going to air this thing out. It's going to be super interesting. Like I said, I'm not sure that Luttrell deserved to be fired, so a little iffy there. But Morris, not Morris's fault that they fired him. So it could be a good hire. Could work out. They're entering the AAC, so step up in competition. With all this college football realignment stuff. So if you've been, head in the clouds in the offseason, the new AAC consists of, we know Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati jump up to the Big 12. And the AAC just loaded up on teams. So now we have this in the AAC, and I'm gonna see if I can do this off memory. South Florida staying in the AAC, but now Florida Atlantic joins. Tulane, who won the AAC a season ago, still in the AAC. Memphis still in the AAC. Navy, Temple still in the AAC. East Carolina, the greatest institution, still in the AAC. Same with the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. But they also have added now UTSA, the Roadrunners Meep, who won the Conference USA. North Texas, who played for the Conference USA Championship. The Rice Owls benefit from a step up. The Charlotte 49ers are also jumping up. Florida Atlantic, as I alluded to, and I believe that is everyone. Am I forgetting one? Perhaps, but off the top of my head, I believe that is everyone. So it's a brand new conference. Competition gonna be a little bit better. Should be fun. Shout out to the chat rocking already. Lane Elliott saying solo Dundee. Yeah, sometimes you got to break away. You know what I mean? George Harrison's best records came when he left the Beatles. You know what I mean? So, sometimes you got to do that. You got to say, "It's Nick, Patty C, get the fuck out of here. I will rock solo." Shout out to the chat though. And he says a good friend of the family left the staff at UNT as linebacker coach and recruiting director to go to Incarnate Word as the DC. Shout out to UNT. Yes, in Denton, Texas, the Mean Green, where Joe Green once played. And look, we could do that. We could load that back up. It's a proud program here at Denton, Texas. As far as I'm concerned, they're co-national champions back in 1977, where they went 11-1. Because the national champion was 11-1. So hit us up if you want us to fill out any paperwork so you can claim your national championship. They also have some other great years with only one loss, 1941, a few other ones too. Haven't done a deep dive if they deserve the national championship, but point is they're a national championship caliber team. Let's talk about it. All right, look, we're going to break down the transfer portal, the offense, the defense, the special teams. But before we do all of that, I want to tell you that the North Texas Mean Green College Football 2023 season preview episode on the College Football Experience is brought to you by Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon. Yes, Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon is a perfect place for any diehard DJ. Sign up for the Patreon to get access to exclusive contests, including the NFL win totals contest with $1,000 for first place, plus a monthly SGP Stories podcast. You might hear about the time Patty C cost me $10,000. It's an ad-free, uncensored show highlighting the best stories from decades of being DJs. There's even a Discord channel just for patrons, but you need to know this. Sports Gambling Podcast has and always will give out their picks for free. All right. This isn't a move to charge for picks. We're not going to do that. But the Patreon is just a great way to support the network and fight back against corporate gambling. All right. So sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. All right. We are back on the College Football Experience. North Texas Mean Green 2023 season preview. Hayden Fry used to coach North Texas. Mean Joe Green I wonder how they got the name, huh? Mean Joe Green was a North Texas guy. So look, we normally have to key in on the transfer portal to start off an episode. 6-7 years ago, we were doing this shit and we didn't have to do that. It was like one guy transferred, but now it's crazy times in college athletics. So departing North Texas, because obviously with a coaching change, normally you get a shit ton of departures. So let's jump into it. Linebacker Larry Nixon III, who is a stud. He's now with the Auburn Tigers. Hugh Strip Club Freeze saying, here's a bag of cash. Come play for the SEC. Right. Wide receiver Jair Shorter. He can play too. 4-star transfer. He got a bag of cash from Hugh Strip Club Freeze too at Auburn. Just coming into the Auburn Tigers saying War Eagle. Nothing like a good bag of cash to change your mind. Offensive lineman Dane Jackson heads out to the Ohio Bobcats. Grant Gunnell, quarterback, he's in the portal. Defensive lineman Tayshawn Johnson's also in the portal. Defensive end Cam Robertson heads out to SMU in Dallas, right down the road. Tight end Varkey's Gums heads out to Arkansas. That was a huge get for the Razorbacks. 4-star transfer get. Brutal loss from North Texas. Sam Pulled Pork Pittman goes out and grabs Gums. They also lost wide receiver Catlib or Khatib Lyles, I think it is, to Austin P with the Governors. They also lost quarterback Deshaun Gaddy to the Ole Miss Rebels and Lane Kiffin. So they're getting pretty annihilated. Also, wide receiver Latrell Neville in the portal for the Mean Green. Running back Preston Landis heads out to the Texas A&M Aggies. Tight end Jake the Snake Roberts. He heads out to Baylor. Defensive lineman Dayton LeBlanc heads out to the portal as well. And also tight end Asher Alberding heads out to the Cal Golden Bears, who they play week 1 in Denton, Texas. Man, that's a lot of losses right there. There's a lot of losses. I think that's everyone. If I missed you, I apologize. Now, incoming to the Mean Green is they go out to UMass and bring in defensive end Vixaril Alabwade. I'm probably butchering your fucking name. I apologize. All right. But yeah, they bring in a UMass defensive end. I don't know if that means much considering how bad they've been, but maybe. Wide receiver Blair Conright comes in from the TCU Horned Frogs. Kicker Noah Rauschenberg comes in from Baylor. Did a little Baylor trade there. Wide receiver Trey Cleveland from the Texas Tech Red Raiders comes into North Texas. Also offensive lineman Ethan Milner from Arkansas State, the Red Wolves. He's coming into Denton, Texas. UNLV safety Phillip Hall coming in to North Texas. Texas Tech offensive tackle Larry Moore coming in. Georgia Tech offensive lineman Paula Veapulu coming into North Texas. And this was the big one here. Quarterback Chandler Rogers from ULM with Terry Bowden in the Sun Belt. That is a very nice get. I still say they lost the portal. I don't think there's any way. I mean, you got your starting quarterback. Normally I lobby on this very show that if you get the starting quarterback, you win the portal. Just don't know that it's true in this instance. So I'm going to say they lost the transfer portal because a lot of those guys, Larry Nixon, Jair Shorter, Gomes, the tight end. Yeah, they got pretty killed in the portal. Cam Robertson. So I'm going to say they lost the portal, but they did get their starting quarterback. So I don't think it's like just a huge flat out L, but I do think they took a loss in the portal. Last year, and I don't know how relevant these stats are, but to stay on script with what we do, remember we're breaking down all 133 college football teams with a solo podcast for each and every team in the land. Last season under Seth Luttrell, the Mean Green were 27th in scoring offense, 25th in rush offense, 36th in pass offense, charting at the 21st best defense in America. Defensively, they were 109th in scoring defense, 115th in rush defense, pass defense at 109, total defense 120. So but all those coaches are gone. So I don't know if these mean anything. So the obviously defense was what they were bad at last year, but once again, this is a completely different roster. I feel like so. There is that. I just think you don't look too much into it. That's just me having to rattle off what we normally do here. But we can talk about what we expect from the offensive line here, or sorry, from the offense. And I'll key in on the offensive line because the thing that stands out to me on the O line is they return everybody. 5 starters back on the offensive line. Yes. Well, if you add in the transfers, bringing in the Arkansas State transfer, bringing in the Georgia Tech, they have 5 starters. So they should be one of the better offensive lines in the AAC. Maybe one of the better in America. I know I was talking to Phil Steele. Go check out our Phil Steele podcast. He was just on the show within the week. And he said that he thinks are one of the best. I think he had him ranked in this top 25 offensive lines in America. So there is that for Chandler Rogers to walk into at the quarterback spot. They still have Jace Reuter. They also have Stone Earl and JD Head. So they have a lot of quarterbacks that have had experience or somewhat highly recruited. Chandler Rogers steps in though. He's dual threat. That could be fun to watch there. Obviously, Austin Une is gone after his 75th year of college football. So you gotta like that, even though a little bit of a shift from a philosophical point of view with this offense. But running back spot, Ikaika Ragsdale. I'm probably butchering his name, but he's good. 4th team All USA a season ago. He's back. They also have Ayo Adeyi, Oscar Adaway, all back. The running back room is deep. One thing Latrell could do as a former fullback was run the ball. Wide receiver wise, Trey Cleveland, remember, coming in from Texas Tech. They also have Damon Ward, also Roderic Burns, back, played 12 starts a year ago. They're going to be counting on though Kaylon Horton, a senior, to step up. Also, remember they got the TCU transfer in Conwright. So that will be the receiving room. Maybe Jamori Maclin, also the sophomore, the 5'11" sophomore, might get in that action. I know he played in a few games a season ago. So there's that. The offensive line. I would circle the receiving core because you go in air raid. You're not using tight ends. I would circle the receiving core as the biggest X factor here. I think the quarterback play looks solid. The depth looks solid. The running back room certainly deep. The offensive line, obviously, probably the best unit on this offense. So you like to see that though, coming into a brand new season with a brand new head coach. The defensive side of the ball, as I alluded to, clearly the weak point of the team a season ago, but there's room to be optimistic here, especially on the defensive line. When you factor in Mason Richards, 2nd team All USA from a season ago, he is back at the DN spot. Also, Roderick Brown, nose tackle, back. Defensive tackle also, Fadafihi Valeha, back. Also, I know they're excited about Kadron Johnson. So the defensive line returns pretty much everybody there. So can they get better? Obviously, they weren't the greatest defensive line a season ago, but you got to like the fact you're returning those guys. And I know they're excited about Johnson. Linebacking core, circle this one. This is the red flag area on the defense. Now, if you told me, where would you prefer to have your weakest unit on defense? Back in the day, it would always be secondary. But now the way everyone throws the ball around, I think you always say linebacking core because they got killed with the returning production there. Only Kevin Wood is back out of the 4 backers. So you're going to be counting on Carson Kropp, also Jordan Brown and Nick Naguasaw. So there's that. I think that's what you circle for the clear point of weakness on this team. Secondary. All right. I can be talked into the secondary being solid because free safety Logan Wilson is back. They are breaking in a brand new strong safety transfer from UNLV and Phillip Hall. The corners, both corners back though, in John Davis and Ridge Texada. And they bring in an Arizona State transfer for depth. And Texada was 1st team All USA a season ago, stepping up in competition, but breaking in a new kicker and a new punter. It's always a little concerning if you're in some close games. But yeah, I want to key in on the coordinator hires because obviously Eric Morris he's been an OC a long time, but he brought in his guy from Washington State, Jordan Davis. He was an analyst for him at Washington State. He is now the new OC in Denton. Defense coordinator is, I like this hire, Matt Capone. He was with Matt Campbell at Iowa State. So like that get. Also Drew Savode. I don't even know how to fucking pronounce his name. He's a special teams coach. He was at Alabama for 2 years. Swoboda, I think it is. Anyway, I kind of like the hires. I kind of like what they bring back, considering it's a brand new team. But this team went to the USA Championship a season ago. That, I mean, you could walk into worse scenarios. So let's talk about this because we're gonna go game by game on the schedule. But I'm kind of optimistic on what is returning. If the receiver room can step up and the defense just be a little bit improved, I think North Texas could be a player in the AAC, but we're going to get to that. We also got Michael Barker going to join us in a little bit, talk about his travels down to Denton, Texas, and North Texas Mean Green Stadium. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the college football experience, North Texas Mean Green 2023 season preview episode. It's brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, the NFL season is right around the corner. And Underdog Pick'em is a great way to get down on a ton of NFL player props. It's available in a ton of different markets as well. Plus, there's plenty of opportunities to win in their daily MLB contest. And of course, make sure to enter their Best Ball Mania, where first place gets $3 million. Head on over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. And look, I'll tell you, we've been with Underdog a couple years. Normally during the college football season, during those weeknight games, which I know North Texas is probably going to play at a few over the years, you know, whether it was last year in the CSA or maybe there's, I think a game or two on the schedule here. I can't remember, but you know, just for the football fans out there, they do a great job with player props for those weeknight games. So make sure you check us out. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN, folks. All right. We are back on the college football experience. Shout out to the chat rocking along. Anthony Eason saying, is that the Sports Almanac from the Back to the Future in the background? Correct. It is. I love to have Tony Eason in the chat, you know, former New England Patriots quarterback from Illinois that took the Pats to the Super Bowl in '85 before Buddy Ryan destroyed the shit out of them. But yeah, shout out to the chat if you're rocking along on this beautiful, beautiful Thursday. Let's continue talking about this, because if you're watching on YouTube, and folks, remember, Mean Green fans, subscribe to the college football experience, because all year we talk college football. I also host the FCS college football experience. So if you're an FCS fan, check us out as well. And I also host the college basketball experience. Wow. Grant McCaskill, what a great story at North Texas. I know he moves along to Lubbock, but I still think that program is going to be very, very good during the college basketball season. I'll be here each and every single night of the season. Subscribe to the college basketball experience. We also have the Big 12 experience, a brand new podcast, part of our feed. Go check out that and the college baseball experience. Maybe you're a college baseball. That sport's getting more and more popular. All those are separate podcasts. Subscribe to all of them on iTunes, Spotify, whatever. But we come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. Subscribe, tell a friend. All right, but if you are watching on YouTube right now, you'll see this sweet graphic. Even though it was made by shout out to our graphics guy Cam Kerr, who is a Texas A&M grad. Disgusting, right? The win total sitting at 6.5 wins. First reaction, I actually think first reaction without diving into the schedule, you're kind of all over the place, because you're like, well, I think they won 7 a year ago, but they lost their coach. Some of their best players left the portal. Via the portal, they're jumping up a conference. So I think on first reaction, you're probably like, nah, I see like 6-6, 5-7, maybe 7-5. So kind of the shoe kind of fits, but I think I would lean under without looking into the schedule. Now let's jump into the schedule and talk a little Mean Green football, because this is where I think it gets very exciting. If you are a fan of the Mean Green. Week 1, a huge game for Eric Morris. No, I'm not talking about the agency. Or is that William Morris? Okay. Yeah, whatever. This game's just very interesting because Cal hasn't been very good lately. I do think Cal will be better than this year, perhaps than some people think. There's also a chance that the Pac-12 will not exist by the time this game will be the final year of the Pac-12. It's in Denton, Texas, which is part of the reason why the Pac-12 probably loses a lot of these games, is because they schedule fucking insane as far as non-con going on the road to the group of fives. I would favor Cal just because it's Eric Morris's first game, but it wouldn't shock me if the North Texas Mean Green won this game. Do I think they're live dogs? I do think they're live dogs. I will favor Cal. So I will say 0-1 to start the season, but you got to like that as your Power 5 non-con game, having them come to Denton. Week 2 at Ricardo Silva Stadium in Miami, Florida, they take on the airport, formerly known as Florida International. All right. They're going to go down there to the tarmac and beat the piss out of them. I think FIU got destroyed in the portal. I favor North Texas there. So I will say 1-1 out the gate by September 9th. On September 16th, they head to Joe Allet Stadium in Ruston, Louisiana to take on Sonny Cumbie. This is Eric Morris and Sonny Cumbie both played for Mike Leach. So this is a Leach Bowl game right here. I favor North Texas because I know Bachmeier comes into La Tech. They also have Harris back at the wideout spot. They bring in Dakotas Crawford, the transfer from Nebraska. I still think right now on paper, the better team is North Texas. You got to go win there, but obviously back-to-back away games to week 2 and week 3. So I got them 2-1 and they have that early bye week. And if there's one knock against this schedule, I would say it's the fact that bye week comes on Saturday, September 23rd. They come out of the bye week and they take on Abilene Christian out of the UAC, the United Athletic Conference, brand new conference. We just did our preview on the FCS College Football Experience. Go check out the UAC preview because Oliver Luck is the commissioner of that conference, former XFL commissioner. Abilene Christian probably going to be pretty good. Sneaky game, but I favor North Texas. But watch out there a little bit. But yeah, so 3-1 through the first month of September with potential to be 4-0. That's why that Cal game's huge. And now they head to Annapolis, Maryland to take on the Navy midshipmen. This is an interesting game to me because, it shouldn't be that cold in Maryland on October 7th. So you like the fact if you got to play at Navy, you get them in the first 5 weeks, but you also have the NCAA ridiculous rule changes regarding cut blocks, which I think makes the game a lot more, unsafe if, we're trying to make the game safe. Right. And I also just think it's fucking ridiculous. So Navy's going to be out of the gun some. Brian Newberry era starts in Annapolis this year. They have a brand new offense coordinator coming over from Kennesaw. Kind of a mystery game to me. I can tell you this. I know Patty C normally likes to take the option, the service or the option schools against the air raid Texas schools because they have a long history of beating the piss out of them. So I'll lean into that trend. Let's go Navy to get that one done. But is it winnable? 100%. Wouldn't shock me if they're 5-0 here, but I will say Navy gets it done. 3-2. Now the Temple Owls and EJ Warner come into Denton, Texas. Stan Drayton, I thought somewhat impressed. I know the defensive side of the ball was really bad in Philly a year ago, but the offensive side of the ball was moving along. They bring in Dante Wright, the transfer from Colorado State. I lean North Texas though. I would favor North Texas here. So that would then put them, really, they could be 6-0. They really could be 6-0 here. I got them at 4-2 before they head to New Orleans to take on the reigning AAC champs, Michael Pratt and the Tulane Green Wave and Willie Fritz. That's a loss. All right. But man, it's not the craziest thing. Tulane played a couple close games last year. They got hit a little bit in the portal / graduation. So I will put them at 4-3 after that game. And then comes a big one. This stretch in general, that's what's interesting about the schedule. This 4-game stretch, it's pretty fucking brutal. They're home to the Memphis Tigers and Ryan Silverflesh. And I favor Memphis, but not by much. This is like a field goal game to me. Could go either way, but I think Memphis returns a ton. They lost a lot of close games a season ago. They have coaching continuity. So I will favor Memphis, but Wouldn't shock me. So I got them at that would put them at 4-4, and then they host UTSA, who they lost to in the Conference USA Championship game a season ago. Frank Harris, aka Captain Harris, is back at UTSA, but they did lose Zachary Franklin. He's gone. He's off to the Ole Miss Rebels. But Jeff Traylor's been doing a really good job in San Antonio, so I would favor UTSA. But once again, these games have been kind of close over the past few years, so that would put them at 4-5, and then on a short week, they are at SMU. That 4-game stretch is brutal. At Tulane, home to Memphis, home to UTSA, at SMU. You could argue those are the top 4 teams in the conference. I know East Carolina and Florida Atlantic might have something to say about that, but you could make that case. At SMU, I would favor SMU. It's also on a short week, so then I would put them at 4-6. Then on Saturday, November 18th, they head to H.A. Chapman Stadium to take the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. Kevin Wilson, the new head coach in Tulsa. I think it's a win for North Texas. Might be a little chilly up in Tulsa though, but give me that as a win to go to the 5th win of the season. And then they host Trent Dilfer and UAB to end the season. UAB is the ultimate mystery team to me. I have no idea. That hire made no fucking sense to me. It doesn't mean that it's a bad hire. It's just we've never seen him be a position coach at all in college football. I know UAB's roster was decently talented. I'll lean North Texas just because of the unknown. So that would put me at 6-6. The number is 6.5. Vegas on it, somewhere between 6 and 7, they think. So I lean under, but they could start out 6-0. They could upset Memphis. They could beat Navy in Annapolis. They could beat Cal in Denton. Like the only flat out loss I see on this schedule is at Tulane. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I lean under though. I think they're probably going to be 6-6. They could be. I don't feel good about this at all because I honestly think they could win 8-9 games also. So, worst case scenario, I'm going to try to build you the worst case scenario. They lose to Cal. They lose one of the FIU La Tech games. So 1-2, they beat Abilene. So 2-2 in September. Worst case scenario, they lose to Navy 2-3, or that'll be a 3rd loss. Tulane beats them 4th loss. Memphis beats them 5th loss. UTSA beats them 6th loss. SMU beats them 7th loss, and then UAB gets them 8th loss. So to me, like the floor is like 4-8. Ceiling is like, honestly, ceiling's like, to me, it's like fucking 10-2. So gonna be fascinating to watch the North Texas season this year. I think 6-6 is probably what's going to happen. But you got to love, really, there's only like a tough 4-game stretch. And I think if you're a Mean Green fan, you circle from October 21st to November 10th, your season, your chance to go to the AAC Championship, probably going to, it's going to reside basically with that 4-game stretch right there. You go 3-1 on that stretch. I think, you're playing for an AAC Championship most likely. You do avoid Florida Atlantic and ECU, which I think are two of the better schools in the conference. You also avoid Rice, who I actually think might be decent this year. So schedule is a little bit favorable in conference. Also the non-con. Let's talk about the non-con. You get 2 CUSA schools in Florida International, La Tech, and the Cal Golden Bears and Abilene Christians. Not a daunting non-con. It is a nice schedule for Eric Morris year 1. Gonna be fantastic to watch all of this stuff. And I don't know. They were what, 7-6 a year ago. It's kind of what they fired Luttrell for, is going 6-6. I mean, his all-time record was 44-44. He's been to what, 6 bowl games in 7 years when they fired him. I think it's probably going to be 6-6. Probably exactly what Luttrell was doing under Eric Morris. We will see. Look, I'm on the under, but I don't love that play. That will not be a lock that I mentioned because they do return their whole line of scrimmage on the offense and the defensive line. So it should be very interesting to see how they do. Before we get out of here, though, I had a chance to sit down with College Football Campus Tour to talk about his travels down to Denton, Texas, to what, Mean Green Stadium or whatever they're calling this shit now. So with no further ado, let me cue up that interview. So here we go. Joining me on the college football experience, North Texas Mean Green season preview is none other than Michael Barker, aka College Football Campus Tour. You might be wondering, hey, what are you talking about, Colby? College Football Campus Tour. Yes, Michael is known as College Football Campus Tour on Twitter, and he has, in my opinion, like the coolest page out there in the universe because if you love college football, he basically documents every game he goes to, and he goes to like 100 games a year. It's like 5, 6, 7 games a week. Sometimes it's like a Wednesday night in Jacksonville, Florida, then the next, or Jacksonville State in Alabama, and then the next night he's in Iowa City checking out a Hawkeyes game, and then after that, later that night he's in College Station or something. I don't know, but it's fucking insane. He does all these posts about the history of the stadium. It's absolutely fantastic. Michael, I appreciate you hopping on the show to talk about North Texas, and I'm just going to call it North Texas Stadium. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thank you for such a great introduction. And yeah, even though the stadium is built in 2011, it's already had 3 names. So we can go over that history as we preview North Texas.
3 names, 2 conferences, right? Because right, it's hard to keep track of this, but yes, yeah. I mean, look, this is a program though that is spending some decent amount of money on football, and they've kind of came up, played in the CUSA Championship a year ago. Now they jump to the AAC. I'm sure they're excited about this and the possibilities. They're not far from Dallas. Obviously, Texas is football. Tell me about the history of the stadium, though.
So it's fairly new, opened in 2011. When it opened, it was named Mean Green Stadium. Shortly after that, it was renamed Apogee Stadium, and it's been that since for the last 10 years or so. And then actually official in 2023, it is renamed DATQ Stadium after a local credit union. So get your scorecard out if you're keeping track of stadium names. It replaced Phelps Field, which was the home of North Texas football from 1952 to 2010. The record crowd was 30,123 versus Houston in 2019. Interesting facts. Number 1 is the first newly built stadium to achieve LEED Platinum certification, which is, those green stadium certifications. And then when you go there, the most obvious distinctive feature at DATQ Stadium is the V-shaped eagle wing end zone seats. It's in the north end zone. And the points of each eagle wing reach 106 feet, and it's pretty treacherous. I've been up there and hang on to the rail, but it's very cool from the outside. It's lit up from the back, and it looks like 2 eagle wings, and no other stadium in the country has anything like it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it via Google Image right now. The stadium looks really cool. I got to get there at some point. And what's shocking to me is their enrollment is like 41,000 people. If Google is correct here, I mean this is another one that could be compared to, like, I know, there's a lot of schools out there, but that are in the P5 that, Wake Forest, I feel like has like just a few thousand people. Baylor, I don't know how many, but I'm saying like there's a lot of people. At 41,000 people is a huge enrollment. You wonder what this university can be down the road here, and especially at this stadium. Tell me, how many times have you been there?
So just to kind of bridge off what you're saying, Denton is only 35 minutes from Dallas north. And so, and we know how crazy people are for football in Texas. You talk about the enrollment, over 40,000, a newer facility. So they have a lot of the boxes checked. You mentioned making it to the conference championship game in CUSA last year. So tons of momentum, part of the reason why they got in the AAC. So hopefully they can continue to build on it. I've been to 2 games at DATQ Stadium. One was in 2020. It was a season finale COVID game against UTEP. But the best game I ever went to was 2018. It was a weeknight game versus FAU. And that was FAU with Lane Kiffin. And it was a shootout, exactly 1,000 combined yards between the 2 teams. And DeAndre Torrey sealed the game with a 92-yard kickoff return for a touchdown in the 4th quarter. And North Texas won 41-38. A great game. And they play a lot of weeknight games. So looking for a chance to catch my third game in North Texas or in Denton, and the first game officially at AAC Stadium.
AAC Stadium. Look, I like Mean Green Stadium. All right, I know I opened with North Texas Stadium. We're gonna stick with Mean Green Stadium here. But man, look, over 1,000 yards in a game. Wow, that's insane. What a great game to go to. Well, hell, man, look, I am excited about their future. I know, some people will say, well, how do they fire Seth Luttrell in a year that they go to the Conference USA Championship? Look, I don't know, but I can tell you this: they're throwing money into football, which I'm all on board with that, and I know you are too. And look, maybe I can get out to a game there or whatever they're calling the stadium these days. Michael, I appreciate you hopping on the show, man, and maybe I'll meet you there one day.
Yeah, and it's a good school for a 2-for-1 with SMU. So maybe a day game at SMU, a night game at Denton, that would work. But hopefully we can make that happen.
Amen, man. Look at that. He's talking 2-for-1s. All right. This is why you need to follow his page at CFB Campus Tour. Like I said, he goes to like 30, I randomly, I didn't know him before Twitter just threw the algorithm in my face. And I was like, wait, he was at this game earlier today. Now he's at this game tonight. And then tomorrow he's at this game. What the fuck? Absolutely great work that you do, Michael. And yeah, folks, get out there. Twitter at CFB Campus Tour. It's a must follow. Appreciate you hopping on the show, man. Take care.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Colby. Appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Michael Barker, that was fantastic. Look, I got to get down there to whatever the hell they're calling this stadium because it's nice. It's outdoors the way football is supposed to be. It's not that UTSA bullshit playing at the house that Cadillac Anderson built. All right, now this is outdoors. This is football, baby. Look, folks, I'm on the under, but I'm intrigued to see. This will not be a lock. I can tell you that certainly. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. And first off, give us a follow on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. Give us a follow there. Make sure you check out all of our 133 previews that we are doing for college football 2023. NC Nick Patty C, they'll be back. So this is only the second solo show I've done out of that 133. So check it out. And what else we got? The FCS College Football Experience. Subscribe to that. iTunes, Spotify, wherever. Obviously, this is the College Football Experience, so subscribe to both. The College Basketball Experience, the College Baseball Experience, the Big 12 Experience. It's all separate podcast feeds. Go subscribe. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the College Experience. Go listen to that Phil Steele interview. Also, by the way, I think we're going to have Randy Cross on talking college football in the next few days here. Check out that one as well. And make sure you check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. They're doing their NFL previews. Texans fans, Cowboy fans, whoever your team is. All right. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast as they break down all 32 NFL teams. And come talk Mean Green football or basketball with us in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. All right, folks, this is the College Football Experience, North Texas Mean Green style. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here. Run, shoot.